Black Monday came and went, and a few coaches found themselves out of a job. Yeah, that's why I love football, because, Black Friday you go shopping, Black Monday you fire coaches. That's how it works. One of the many coaches out of a job, the Miami Dolphins fired Coach McDaniel. Well, here's a tip for the Miami Dolphins. There's a reason why your greatest coach of all time was Don Shula. It's because he was old. Nobody young moves to Miami and continues to think about football or anything else except a couple of things. And with all the coaches fired in the NFL, got me thinking. The estimates say that about 40% of all entry-level jobs have already been done away with in this country by artificial intelligence, AI. Hey, I've only got one thing to say to all these people that are laid off. Don't come for my job. Oh, what? I'm sorry. The leader of Venezuela's in town. Well, he's in the country. So we gotta show him that we can dance too. We can dance if we want to. In a criticism of sports gambling, famous financial advisor Dave Ramsey came out and said that FanDuel is the portal to hell. Here I thought it was Twitter X. No, just kidding. Everybody knows that the portal to hell is the front door at the building where you work. If you thought it was a wild season, buckle up, kids, because it's wild card weekend. Yes, always the most wild weekend of football. You got a lot of contenders in there. They're vying for a spot in the divisional round against either the Seahawks or the the Broncos in the AFC. That's right. What am I doing? I can't remember anything. Anyway, last week was lots of low-scoring games. This weekend's going to be a whole lot better than that. On the season, we're 49-35. That's 58%. They say that your average football wagering person, better, averages out about 55% winners. So we're about 3 points above that. But if you think about it, 55%. If that were true, there'd be no Las Vegas. There would be no, FanDuel. Right? Which casino stays in business giving away 55% of the pot? It doesn't work that way. By the way, enjoy this lo-fi studio office while you can, because come preseason this year, I'm going to up the ante. Yes, we're going to you can call this the big budget play action sports show from now on. Yeah. You can call it the Creme de la Creme Pass Network, or Krampus for short. All right, let's do the Pick Six. By the way, if you're wondering where I get all this energy, obviously it's from the coffee. This is the fuel of the podcaster right here. And I want to thank you guys for all your likes, your listens, your subscribes, your views, whatever we want to call that. Views, listens, I don't know. Because I listen all the time. When I'm listening to podcasts, I put it in my pocket and I walk with earbuds, So I listen to movies, I listen to things that are supposed to be viewed. All right, we're picking 6. It's going to be the last time we can pick 6 games this season because it's wild card weekend. Of course, you got the 4 divisional games next weekend, the 2 conference championships after that, and then the 1 bowl to rule them all, the Super Bowl. All right, let's get into it. The Rams at Panthers. My hometown team is going to Carolina. This is Saturday at 1:30 p.m. All right, looking forward to that. The Panthers are on a 2-game losing streak here. Not looking good. They're sputtering going in. But the Rams have a suspect defense. However, the Rams are not a low-scoring team, and for this reason, I'm going to pick them to win 31-21. That is the over. They're giving us 46 points. The Rams are 10.5-point favorites, and they're going to cover. No, sorry. They're not going to cover by a half a point. 31-21, Rams over the Panthers. Next, we've got the Packers at the Bears in the NFC North Division. This is the Bears faced them, I think, back on December 21st, and came from behind in the fourth quarter. Amazing, you know. The Bears have dropped their last 2 games, but the Packers have dropped 4 straight. I think the Bears beat them. It's going to be the under 24-18. Bears over the Packers. The Packers are 1.5-point favorites. And I don't know why they keep giving the Packers that much credit. It's an off season for the Packers for sure. Bears 24, Packers 18. And it's going to be one of the last chances you get to see a game played at Soldier Field. I'm definitely going to be tuning in for this one. All right, the next game is going to be on Sunday, 10 a.m. The Bills at Jaguars. This is probably 2 of the hottest teams coming into the playoffs, besides, of course, the Texans, maybe the Broncos. But I'd say the Texans are, you know, on a 5-game winning streak, I'd say they're probably the hottest team. But these 2 teams, you can't count out. The Bills at Jaguars. You know, the Jaguars have been very hot as of late. The Bills kind of just sputtered into the playoffs a little bit. But and they're 1-point favorites, the Bills are. I'm picking them to win 14-7. It's going to be a low-scoring affair, you know, even though they're playing in Jacksonville. I think 14-7, Bills over Jaguars, that is definitely the under. They're giving us 51.5 on that one. All right. You know, that's not going to be a big game for money, though. You know, it's basically like doubling your money, the money line on that one. All right, game 4 of our pick 6 is going to be the 49ers at Eagles. And, you know, the Eagles defending champs, Jalen Hurts. 49ers are going to win 21-16. I just think that Brock Purdy is firing on all cylinders right now. I do respect Jalen Hurts. I do respect all the guys at Philadelphia, but 49ers have managed to win big games this season. I think they do it again this weekend. They're 3-point favorites, and they're giving us 38.5 points. It's going to be the under. All right, 21-16 Niners over Eagles. Okay, Sunday, 5 p.m. This is the Sunday evening game, and they're giving us one more game for the wild card weekend on Monday, by the way. Yeah, make sure that we get enough commercial time. Okay, the Chargers are going to Foxborough to face the Patriots. You know, I had to wipe my tears when I was looking at the Chargers' record during the last 5 games. I couldn't believe my eyes. They only scored 16 points in 2 of their last 4 games. And then I had to wipe my eyes again when I saw the Patriots scored only 10 points in their last 2 games of the season. Both of these teams not looking too good coming into the playoffs, but I tell you what, the Chargers are going to put up pretty decent points. It's going to be 28-18. I just think Drake May's a rookie or a sophomore quarterback. I don't think he's I don't know if he's a rookie or a sophomore. I don't think he's got the chops to win a big playoff game right now. I could be wrong. But I'm picking the Chargers 28-18. The over-under is 45.5, so that's definitely the over by 0.5 point. So why did I say definite? Okay. All right. Yeah. Next and last is going to be the Texans at Steelers. You got the Texans who are on a 5-game, they won their last 5 games. But you've got Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers who they beat the Ravens twice this year. You know, they're coming in very hot. They've just made the playoffs by beating the Ravens last weekend. I think Aaron Rodgers has the experience to win a big playoff game. I'm just going to pick the Steelers 30-24. They're giving us 39.5. The Texans are 3-point favorites, but to go into Pittsburgh and win, I just think it's too tall of an order at this point. So 30-24, Steelers over the Texans. That will be the final one of your pick 6. Again, thank you very much for listening, for hitting that like button and the subscribe button. And again, as always, gamble responsibly. Okay, this is Hurricane Watch. Of course, we're tracking hurricanes. Looks like the Hurricanes beat Ole Miss 31-27. Wow, what a game. And I tell you, I'm very much looking forward to the games on, I believe it's Friday or it could be Saturday. Oregon against Indiana. It's the Peach Bowl on Saturday. And, this is the rematch of the big game that we picked Indiana to win earlier in the year, and they did upset the Ducks at Austin. I'm going to have to keep going with Indiana. Just the way they slapped around Alabama was just unexpected. So we're going with Indiana to beat Oregon. I think the other college game is going to be, that's it. Miami. Whoever wins this game faces off against Miami, the Hurricanes. Wow, what a college football ending. This is going to be great. I can't wait. I'm looking forward to it. I'm really happy LA has two teams in the NFL playoffs this year. We've got the Rams, we've got the Chargers. Of course, I was expecting the Rams to go to the Super Bowl. Earlier in the year, my two picks for the Super Bowl were the Rams and the Patriots, only based on the fact that they were the hottest teams, it seemed like, in the league at the time. And it seemed like Drake May was really, the next big-time quarterback in New England, and he still very well might be. But I'm going to amend my Super Bowl pick. Yes, we're going to change it. Why? It's sort of an unofficial pick anyway, just like some of the college games that I picked this year. It's just an unofficial pick. So it looks to me like the two teams that have the best chance to make it to the Super Bowl, believe it or not, to me, are Buffalo and San Francisco. I think it's going to be a Buffalo Bills 49ers Super Bowl. Now, of course, when one of those teams loses, I'll amend my pick again. That's how it works. All right. So what else we got to talk about? It's going to be the last game at Soldier Field. Maybe the last game at Soldier Field, which is pretty sad. I mean, if you think about it, all that history, George Halas, Dick Butkus, who was it? When I was a kid, I'm naming all these people who were way before my generation. When I was a kid, the very first Super Bowl I saw was the Bears over the Patriots. And this is when they had Jim McMahon. They had William Refrigerator Perry, Walter Payton. Come on. Richard Dent. They had Mike Singletary, middle linebacker. Gentry, one of the wide receivers, I think. You name it. They had a lot of big-time players back then. To me, they were probably the most powerful team of all time. I just loved, the Bears offense at the time. Walter Payton was my very first football hero. When he passed away, it was very sad. I was a kid, and it was very sad. But Jim McMahon, used to wear those shades, all the time. They were like Oakleys, I think they were. I don't know. That style, shades. You couldn't beat the 85 Bears for just sheer showmanship. They only won one Super Bowl. It's unfortunate. I think maybe a lot of that had to do with the fact that Buddy Ryan and Mike Ditka, the defensive coordinator, Buddy Ryan, did not get along with the head coach, Mike Ditka. But I don't think either one could do without each other. Strangely enough. It's like that, Joachim and Boaz, or whatever you want to call it, the positive and the negative. All right. Anyway, what else do we got going on? Yeah, of course, Black Friday, they fire a lot of coaches. McDaniel gone, Pete Carroll gone, John Harbaugh was gone, I believe, fired from Baltimore. I don't know. They're already talking about John Harbaugh going to Miami, perhaps, and perhaps even the New York Giants. What do you think of that? Which team? Here's how we'll end the show. All right, post in the comments or hit me up one way or another on my socials. X or Instagram. I don't know. I don't follow these things too closely. But hit me up. Let me know, who do you think... I don't even remember what I was talking about anymore. See, that's what I get for rambling. You know, who do you think where do you think John Harbaugh is going to go? To the Giants or to the Miami Dolphins? Or is there another team that you feel he might go to? That's how we're going to end it. You guys enjoy the wild card weekend. What a slate of games we got. I mean, if you really want to know what games I'm looking forward to the most, and this is how we'll end the show, I'm very much looking forward to seeing Aaron Rodgers, see if he can do it again, get to the divisional round, make a play for the Super Bowl. I mean, what a way to go out if he can come back and win a Super Bowl with the Steelers. I'm not saying that he would retire at that point. What I'm just saying is that it would be like a John Elway-esque end to his career. And he deserves it. He's great. All right, the Patriots-Chargers game. Looking forward to see if Drake May can hang in there. But I would have to say the biggest game that I'm looking forward to, I'm going to go with the Bills-Jaguars. This is just, you know, the Jaguars have been incredible this year. The Bills, you know, they're back in the playoffs. I mean, come on. Josh Allen, it's going to be fun.